Okay, here we are in the shop. I'm going to show you how to convert a standard hi-hat into one of these really cool bass drum mounted mini hi-hats. Because not all hi-hat stands are created equal, there are some that work and some don't. And I'm going to show you some examples of hi-hat stands that work really well to convert into one of these. Okay, there's a couple things to look out for when choosing a hi-hat to convert. You obviously want it to be a nice name brand hi-hat, and the good thing is a lot of older hi-hats are perfect for this. The most important thing you want to look out for is this structure right here. This is a really solid base that the pedal attaches to and goes all the way to the floor. This one also has a very similar thing going on. This is a Pearl. I think it's from like the 80s, maybe early 90s. This is a Sonar. This one's a little newer. It's probably about 8 to 10 years old. Again, it works just fine. If I were to pick between these two, I would definitely pick the Pearl because it's a lot beefier, and it also has this really nice spring tension adjustment, which is great because we're going to be using smaller cymbals. So, for removing the tripod, pretty simple. You're going to drill out these 3 bottom rivets. Most of them are built this way. This one also has rivets on the bottom. You're going to have to drill those out, and then you're going to slide the entire tripod up and off the top. You're going to have to remove this lug too. This one has a little set screw in it and it should slide right off. This one here, built the same way, the set screw's on the back side. You want to just drill out those 3 bottom rivets and then slide the whole tripod assembly up and off the top. And when you're finished, you're going to have something like this. This is the one that I use in the videos. I've had it for about 8 years. It works great. This is a DW5000. I think it's, I don't know, about 9 or 10 years old. It's really solid, has a nice chain drive, and it has the spring tensioner, which is also, as I mentioned earlier, really nice because we use smaller cymbals. As I mentioned earlier, the hi-hat cymbals for this type of setup really need to be smaller than your standard 14-inch hi-hat. These are little 10-inch hi-hats that I found. They're made by Sabian. They are called AA Mini Fusion hats. They work great. They're really fast, which is important. They have the little air vents underneath to let the air escape quickly. Being small really keeps these out of the way. If you use full-size cymbals on this kind of hi-hat, they tend to get in the way of the toms. At least that's my experience. So you want them small, out of the way, and really fast. Again, you can use a couple of splash cymbals to experiment with. You may even want to try something smaller than this. Okay, so here's the finished hi-hat with no tripod, standing precariously next to the bass drum. And the reason we take off the tripod, of course, is because we want it to mount right next to the bass drum pedal like this, so your foot can jump back and forth between the two, or most importantly, play both at the same time. This is a right-handed setup, which is probably what you're going to use. I, however, am left-handed, so I'm going to be installing mine on this side. This is an aluminum block that I machined, and it attaches directly to the hi-hat stand like this. And I'll show you this side of it. This is the part that slides over the bass drum hoop, and what it is are 2 threaded rods with rubber hose over them so they don't scratch the bass drum. This slides onto the bass drum hoop just like this, And the final step is to attach it with a little bungee cord like this. You'll probably have to cut it down to size to make it just right. It's not the sexiest way to hold it on, but it really is stable. It will not come loose no matter how aggressively you play. I actually had this hi-hat fall over on stage once, and nothing is quite as lovely as having a hi-hat fall over when you're on stage. So that's why I started using a bungee cord. It works really, really well. So this is the whole system right here.